Introducing Silent Storm, the fragrance. Fine forever. Good morning, loves. Welcome to the Dr. Daff Show. I'm Dr. Daff, and we have a special guest today on the show, Jackie Aina.
Hi.
Jackie Aina is the co-founder of Forever Mood, which is a luxury candle line. She's also an OG YouTuber that did lots of amazing makeup tutorials and lifestyle content. And she's here today to talk about some wonderful things.
I'm excited.
Welcome, Jackie.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. She's our very first guest. I'm so grateful that you're here.
No pressure. First one. I got to set the stage, honey.
That's right. First and the best. So I just want to talk a little bit about how long we've known each other. I've known Jackie since I was about maybe 10 years old.
I honestly think we met earlier than that. Probably like 7, 8 or something.
Yes.
Like real young.
Really young.
Yeah.
We attended the same church, and she would always have on when she got older, the nicest makeup. And I just remember just always seeing her with a smile and giving you a hug at church. And then in college, we ended up reconnecting.
Yeah.
So
in high school, remember?
No. Oh, yes.
Remember? Like the one semester we went to the same high school?
We did. Wow.
That was hilarious.
Yes. Our lives have just been intertwined since childhood. It's amazing.
Literally.
It's amazing. So I'm just so happy that after all these years, we're still together.
I know.
So as I mentioned, Jackie was an OG YouTuber and still is. She made lots of makeup content for women all over the world, but especially helping women of color to be able to embrace their beauty and learn about how to do their makeup and also take good care of their skin. So Jackie,
yes.
It's been 8 months since you recorded a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you been?
So I actually put up my first one last week.
Yes.
Since last year. It was I took a visible break. But the thing is I didn't really take a break because I was still posting everywhere else. I just took a break from YouTube.
Right.
And, as a full-time content creator, a lot of us don't just live on one platform. So YouTube was always my main one. It was always my main bread and butter. First of all, there's multiple different things happening, which was the reason why I took a break.
Okay.
One, I felt like I can't put all my eggs in one basket, which is, I think, smart. And I think a lot of people were thinking about that in the past 2 years, just kind of forward thinking yeah, YouTube's great and it's my main platform, but I don't think it should be the only thing that I should be focused on.
Okay.
And so I wanted to kind of try other things and switch it up. But also I was just really tired. I was just really tired of putting so much into a platform that I felt, and this is just my opinion and my experience. In the 13 years that I've been a creator, I've always felt like I've had to work a little bit harder than my peers. Actually, a lot harder. Those of you guys that have been following me long enough can probably see the very stark difference between the quality of content I put out as a Black creator and even Black creators in general. There is definitely a difference in growth and opportunity, but rarely is there ever a difference in quality, right? So a Black creator could be doing the absolute most, putting out the absolute best content, teaching you things, and you definitely won't get nearly as many opportunities as some of your peers. Imagine experiencing that for half a decade or longer, right? That was such a big part of my journey and my growth on YouTube. I've definitely noticed that even though Black creators often have to work harder when it comes to having a relationship with platforms and just having a rapport with platforms, we kind of rarely get very much in return, I've noticed. So for example, I just feel like as a creator, you shouldn't have to work tooth and nail just to basically sit at the same table of people who are doing a third of the work. I felt a platform that wasn't always kind of reciprocating. And I feel like in the 13 years that I've been a creator, why is it that I still have to work just as hard to make it on people's explore pages as I did when I first started? And I don't really feel like that's I feel like at some point you should get grandfathered in. And at some point, you shouldn't have to I don't know if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
At some point, and especially, because mind you, there's a little bit of context. I have peers, I have non-Black peers who are also in the industry like myself.
Okay.
And you just, people talk and you start to hear, oh, I don't want to say too much because like it can't really be proven, but like you just start to hear that like other creators get special favors and special treatment. And I'm not necessarily saying that that is right. Because it kind of isn't. But at the same time, it's like, well, why did they get access to these things that other non-Black, like other Black creators aren't given the same like space and the grace to be able to benefit from? Does that make sense?
It does. And it's interesting because I think recently there was a video put out by a very popular Black creator who made a video. Yes.
The allegations I am levying towards YouTube are extremely serious, and I'm taking this video extremely seriously. YouTube, you guys either play favorites, you are racist, or it's a mix of the two. These are the three options, YouTube. Which one is it?
Michelle, when I saw that video,
yes.
Okay, everything that I suspected about YouTube, I had no proof.
Right.
I've never seen Corey Kenshin ever. I've never heard of him. I've never seen a video. I'm not on that side of YouTube. I'm on a very specific.
I think he's a gamer, right?
He's like gaming. Yeah, exactly. And he's in like a very clean cut. Apparently he's like very reputable. He has like a spotless image, no controversies. That's what people were saying in the comments.
Right.
So I'm watching this video and I only heard about this video because someone had tagged me in it on TikTok.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, this is what Jackie Aina has been saying. Da, da, da. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me go see this, guys. I'm like, intrigued. What's this talking about? So I had no idea that this video was the viral phenomenon that was taking place at the time.
Right.
Everything that he said in that video, I've suspected, but I've never had proof. So I'm like, how is it that every creator from different corners of the internet are all saying the same thing and we've never how? It's not a coincidence.
It's not.
So the stuff that he was saying, I was like, I'm not tripping. I knew I wasn't crazy. And there's even things that like I've experienced personally with my channel and I've reached out to the platform directly and I've said, hey, like, I feel like this is going on. Can I get this looked at? I feel like this is, my subscribers aren't seeing my content. Can I get this looked into? And it would just be crickets.
Really?
I mean, it wouldn't be crickets per se, but it would be
butterflies.
No, but it would be very much kind of like, oh yeah, we'll look into it. Oh, just not
brushing
serious, just brushing it off. Yes. But then anytime there's like an initiative or a diversity and inclusion, it's like,
guess who's knocking on your door.
Out of the millions of YouTubers, you know who to call.
Right.
So it's like, I feel like I've done enough favors to make you look good. Why are you not like, why is my audience not seeing my content?
Yeah.
Why am I hearing about so-and-so getting all of these favors and so-and-so getting, and I don't want to say exactly what these things are because again,
but we know that there are things that go on.
Exactly.
And it is unfair.
Things that help creators, non-Black creators and their channels grow.
Right.
And it ain't got nothing to do with the quality because when you watch my videos, you know the quality's there. You know that the content is easy to digest. It's enjoyable to watch.
Yes.
Quality is second to none.
Yes.
Second to none. I've had 13 years to perfect it and figure it out.
Right.
And then you see like other people and you're like, that's great, but like,
what's going on?
How did this get pushed? Like, it's just...
And that can make you just lose the enthusiasm.
Of course. And that's like a normal thing I feel like in the workplace. You know, if you see like, I mean, I'm kind of like, okay, I kind of feel like I have a formula. I have my flow. Right. People are obviously heavily engaged with the content. Why is there's a disconnect here?
Yes.
So for me, it just kind of felt like, all right, let me just give this one platform some competition. So they don't feel like they have me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they don't feel like they have me. Like I just needed to kind of spread myself out and just be visible everywhere else.
So you mentioned you were tagged on TikTok.
In the past year, I've still been creating content heavily. Sometimes I post like 4 times a day, but I've just been doing it on its own separate platform. It's been really fun. The funny thing is about some platforms, TikTok especially, TikTok is like notorious for this. These people do not even know who I am, and I kind of live for it because they'll literally comment and be like, oh my God, do you have a YouTube channel? And I think it's so cute because it's like, oh baby, if you only knew.
So that's your new love for TikTok?
I love TikTok. Honestly, I love TikTok because it's like short. It's not easy. Let me not.
It's definitely not easy. Yes, but it's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And it's a different audience in a sense, right? Because there's more young people on there, fresh, and they get to see your personality, and you don't have to specifically be talking about makeup. You can talk about anything.
Yeah, you don't have to. I think TikTok is great for niches, but also you don't really have to have a niche to do well on TikTok. However, I will say the same things that I do see on other platforms do happen on TikTok. It's the same thing.
It's across the board.
It's across the board. It's every social media platform.
That's disappointing. Something has to change because we've been having this conversation over and over.
I know.
And it has to change.
I know.
But we are happy to see you back.
Thank you.
We are happy to see you back.
Yeah, I just needed help. I needed to, like I said, there was just so much going on. It was just like, girl, like, go do something else. Go.
Yes.
Like, it was like I was running out of creativity.
Okay.
I was doing everything myself except editing.
Okay.
And that's very rare for, like, considering the size of my audience. Like, most people have, like, they outsource help. They have a production team.
Yes,
they have lighting. They have gaffers. Like, I didn't have any of that. Right. And I was like, honestly, I cannot do this by myself anymore. But I know what people say once you go down that road. They call you a sellout. They say you're corporate. They say you're changing.
Right.
They're saying, oh, it doesn't feel as authentic just because you're not. It's just like, but like, why do I have to do this by myself anymore?
You shouldn't have to. And after a while, it takes away from you being able to expand and do other things because all of your time is being poured into something that you could be giving other people an opportunity to advance in. Someone needs a job. Someone does need to learn that and does want to do it. And
exactly.
And it's great to do that. People will always have something to say. So
true.
Are you doing something special for your audience? Do you have something different that's coming up? Or okay.
Yes. Okay. So I think the visible difference in my YouTube content now is a lot more collaborations, which is great. That's like actually bringing people on the channel and just getting out of the studio. Like it's always going to be about beauty for me. Like I love beauty. I didn't want to completely change the direction of the channel.
Okay.
But I wanted to talk about beauty in a different way. Like before, it would just be sit down, tutorial, and review style. Okay. And those videos are fun, but I kind of feel like that style, that video creating style was kind of like getting a little quiet. I don't think it's dead per se.
Sure.
Because it's very popular on TikTok. I don't know if you've noticed, but that sit down style, like the way we used to do reviews and tutorials on YouTube is now huge on TikTok.
Okay.
So it's not dead. I think just the medium and the platform that it exists on is changing.
Okay.
So, but that was always the style of content that I would create. And I just was like, I mean, I can't do this forever. Like you can't do the same, you cannot do the same thing
forever
over and over again and expect
to
just still be excited about it, enthusiastic. No,
absolutely.
I need to switch it up. I was like, I want to do like, what would it be like to switch lives with somebody or to like bring a celebrity on the platform and show their beauty routine and like do it with them and just, I don't know. I just wanted to just
something fresh.
And also a little bit more grown, like my audience has grown with me. I'm 35.
Yeah.
The things that interested me when I first started my channel is very different to the things that interest me now.
Okay.
Like I said, still beauty, but just like different, you know?
It's always going to be beauty. That's great.
Because, you know, we're just a little bit vain on the channel. I like to reclaim vain as like a positive because it's like, as long as you're not like a terrible person, like it's okay to like being invested in how you look. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that.
It just shouldn't be the only thing that you're invested
in. Of course.
I think that's the difference.
But I think that the problem that I have with that in general is that people assume it's the only, like, why do you have to assume that's the only
thing it's like one or the other, right?
Because I'm happen to be really good at it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't gotta
it's unfortunate that people judge so quickly because if you are a beautiful woman, you put a lot of care into the way you look, people assume you have no personality or you're just super selfish and all these assumptions.
Or you're mean or you're useless or you can't do this. There's so much. It's not nice. It's not kind. But we like embrace the people who love being glam, who love taking care of themselves.
Yes.
I like that. And I don't want to change that.
Everyone is different and I don't think you will change that.
It ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
About your beautiful brand, Forever Mood.
Yeah.
Where did you draw the inspiration for the name from? I think it's a beautiful name.
Honestly, we just started. So this is a great entrepreneurial tip, by the way. Anytime you think of a catchy name, write it down.
Okay.
So whenever we name like our candles and anything that we launch, I just think of a name and I write it down. And basically that's how the process started. And I kind of wanted to think of something that was very like modern and contemporary. So there's a lot of brands now, like we're friends to this brand, but like Summer Fridays. So they're very like either talking about like a day of the week or a time of the day.
Okay.
And I don't know, there's just something very like contemporary. Like even another friend of mine, her name's Tenny. She has a brand called Monday Born.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
I was kind of inspired by like that new age way of like naming brands, but also because it's called Forever Mood. It's kind of incredible. And I have the candles burning behind me. Ooh, that's our summer collection. And that's a lot. reason why I started the candle brand and lifestyle brand in the first place is because I wanted to embrace and really bring people into understanding like why scent is so important.
Okay.
And it really does, I think, envelop in how you feel. It involves a lot of sensory emotion. Just like, what are you channeling when you're burning that or smelling that, right?
Yes.
So when you burn our candles, I want it to feel like a forever mood. Like it's always going to be a mood, you know?
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
It just kind of ties in like, and that's why we do so much visual storytelling with each launch, because some people don't really know much about fragrance. So they'll read these notes and they're like, okay, what does this mean?
Yes.
So if you describe how something feels, they're like, okay, I think I get it.
Yes.
Like you may not know what bergamot is or heliotrope is, but you know the difference between feeling warm and feeling cool, right?
Right.
You know the difference between like a hot, humid shower versus a dry desert, right? Like these are completely two completely different types of feelings and emotions. Right. So we wanted the brand name to kind of
so then they can just remember that emotion and channel that with
it's
candle.
Mood. Exactly.
I love that. That's lovely. Oh, I love it. What have you enjoyed the most about starting your own business?
I think I really like just being on the opposite side of creating something.
Okay.
And this is, I think, really important because my job has always been reviewing products and brands, right?
For other brands.
For other people.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, I be laying it on thick. Like people know me to be very like no holding back, like raw and unfiltered, still professional. Despite what some people think, I'm always professional. I would never just unjustifiably rip into a brand. But I think as the person who's always been on the opposite end of it, it definitely makes you respect brand owners and brand founders a lot more.
Absolutely.
Not that the respect wasn't visibly there previously, but you're like, oh, now I understand why things take so long. Now I understand why when they wanted to restock this product, it took 6 months as opposed to 2 weeks.
Right.
You also, as a brand founder, learn when brands are not as honest and transparent as they try to allude to be.
Okay.
So like when someone is like, there's always this whole joke when brand founders are like, oh, I worked on this for 5 years. And it's like, girl. You don't believe it? I mean, because sometimes it's like, when you say worked on, like
what exactly were you doing?
Exactly. It's like the technology and the raw materials probably already existed. When you say worked on, you probably mean like
it was an idea.
Or maybe you started the idea. Like it doesn't necessarily mean you're literally in the lab for 5-10 years. Like no. Most of the time, it does not actually mean that.
No.
Now with certain products like maybe an SPF.
Right.
If you were innovating that, I would believe it because some products require a lot more formulating, a lot more innovation. Some things literally don't exist.
Yes.
So, but like for eyeshadows, it's like, bruh, okay.
5 years to come up with a shade.
Girl.
Well, I remember one of our friends, Ngozi, she has a hairline.
Yeah.
And I remember her saying that she went to China to like research and study in the lab for years. And it took her a while to truly just understand the whole process.
That makes sense.
Before even starting.
That's very valid.
So
I think that's a little different from like launching something and saying this particular product we worked on and sat on and formulated for 3 years. And it's like, it's highly, highly unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely.
Yes. Well, they want to justify it. That's why it costs $500.
That's what it ends up. For me, when they try to pose it as like a marketing, when they try to like make it seem like innovated or like reinvented, it's like, it's not likely. But starting like we launched Forever Mood in 2020, but we've been like preparing for it. It's like 2018, 2017.
Wow.
We didn't actually like launch it until 2020.
Wow.
So that's very valid.
Yes.
Shout out to Ngozi. No, she's a pioneer.
She's amazing.
Like
her hair is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Hair is so complex.
It is
so competitive.
And it's such a competitive market. So
it could not be me. Hats off to Ngozi because she's for real like a pioneer.
Yeah.
And natural hair extensions at that.
If
like nobody was doing that.
No.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of duplicates, but I haven't seen anything on the market as nice as her.
No. Heat-free hair. Shout out to Ngozi.
Check it out. What is Jackie like as a boss, as a manager? I don't know if I'd want you to be my boss.
No, you
like,
know what?
You need to be on time.
You know what? Sometimes when people follow me and they're like, I want to work for Forever Mood. I'm like, no, you don't. Because Jackie as a boss
Mhm.
is always going to put you in the best position to succeed if you want it.
Okay.
Always. But
Okay.
only if you want it. If you don't want it, okay. By all
Sure.
means, I'll be hands off and you can go work somewhere else.
Sure.
That's your prerogative. No judgment.
Okay.
But I mean, like social media me and like
Mhm.
my personality, like when I'm with my family, when I'm with you, my
Mhm.
friends,
Yeah.
I'm at work. Like we're not here to giggle and
No.
kiki. No,
No, we
like
need to get
we're here
things
to
done.
we're here to work, but
Yes.
always within reason. Like one thing that I'm the proudest of is that a lot of my brand is about like wellness and taking care of yourself. How can I not reflect that behind the scenes?
Sure.
So when an employee comes to me and they're like, hey, like started my period, don't feel great. Can I stay home? Of course, without question. Like it's not even up for discussion.
Yes.
And even like a recent one of our employees, she's my producer, like she's been going through it. But the problem is, and shout out to Iris. We introduced Iris on my channel a couple videos ago. I want to shout out my new producer, Iris, who's in the back. Do you want to say hi, Iris?
Hey, y'all.
Is you gonna come on camera?
Oh, girl.
But the problem with her is that like she's great. She works incredibly hard.
Right.
But like Iris sometimes doesn't know when to say no. So me and Dennis literally told her, you don't have an option. You're taking a week off. You're taking vacation. And we just told her like, you need to.
We all need a boss like you. Really? That's
I
great.
try to be balanced because
Yes.
I didn't have jobs like that would be able to sense when like clearly I'm overworked, clearly I'm going through it,
Right.
you know, and just allowing me the space and the grace to just like, okay, let me just recenter myself. Because at the same time, when you have a job and you're running on E, you can't even operate to your fullest capacity.
No.
So then your work starts showing. And I'm not saying that that's the case with Iris because it's not. She's great, but I never want anybody on the team to feel like we work them to the ground, spread themselves thin. We only actively support people in what they say they're willing to do. Okay. So there's previously another time where we had an employee that was like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And we were like, okay, like the person alluded to really wanting to take on more responsibility.
Sure.
But then left the company and said, we overworked them. And I'm like, but
they couldn't handle it. It sounded good, but in reality, it was too much to handle.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, and also the person did not, in my opinion, do a effective job communicating when they felt overwhelmed. Oh, okay. So it's like, we can't do anything if we don't know, and we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
So if you're saying yes, yes, and then not.
Sounds like they probably have a hard time confronting with the confronting piece.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But
it's easier just to leave. But that's unfortunate for them. Because you're so kind and understanding, you would have understood.
Of course, like without question, like not even up for discussion.
Right.
Because I just don't feel like it makes sense to have people that work for the company that aren't happy.
Right.
Because then I don't gain anything from it. You don't gain anything from it. And the entirety of the brand, like I just don't like the idea of having a brand that like presents itself publicly and then privately it's like people are worked to the bone and exhausted. Yeah. I'm not here for that.
I know.
At all.
Which is wonderful. Now, you work with your fiance.
Yes.
What is that like? Because it can be challenging. It can be fun, but it can also be very challenging working with your partner, just separating work and your personal time. So what is it like working with Dennis?
So whenever people ask me for advice on this and they ask, should I, how do you feel about starting a business? Usually, truthfully, the answer I tell them is no, because the chances of you having what me and Dennis have, like I know this sounds really messed up, but it's extremely rare.
Okay.
And it works so well for us that I would actually not advise it for other people because I feel like we're the exception and not the norm.
Okay.
And you can probably attest to this too because you have the business with your husband.
Right.
But it's extremely rare. Somehow it just clicks and it just works. We actually don't really clash when it comes to work.
That's great.
And Dennis and I play very different roles. So he started Forever Mood and I worked more as like the creative director and like the visionary and like I come up with the sense and I do the storytelling.
Right.
But he does all the logistic. Well, at the time, he does all the logistic stuff. He does the hiring.
Okay.
He also does the firing when there is a rare occasion at the fire.
Oh, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, but we're very much yin and yang. Like we play very different roles. And I think it works because we're both alpha, but not in a way that like we're kind of like clashing with each other.
Okay.
So we play the role extremely well. And I don't know how it works, but it just
So
works.
let's say you had a situation where he had an idea for something.
Yeah.
Since you're more of the creative director, right? He has an idea and you're like, heck no. Right? Because you're so different, right? You're so different. So your ideas are probably going to be a little different. How would you tell him, I don't really like that idea, without affecting your relationship? Because that can be challenging. You don't want to hurt his feelings, or, but you really don't want that idea to come to life. What do you do?
I mean, I actually feel like Dennis is pretty good at compartmentalizing things.
Okay.
So if I say, I'm not into that, I mean, hopefully he's being honest and forthcoming and he's not like putting on a good face.
And then crying in the bathroom.
Yeah, and then crying in the bathroom. But like, he doesn't take it as like, oh, this is like a personal notch on me. Like, he actually does really well. But I also think that he trusts that like, I'm kind of the idea person.
Sure.
And then when he does present ideas, they're in line with either what we already do as a brand. Because he knows the brand because he's a co-founder. So he would never suggest something that's like, so far-fetched that it's like, babe, where in the hell did you get this idea from?
Right.
So he does pretty well, but the Leo in me is very like, I'm not like, if I don't like something, I'll just tell you.
Okay.
However, some meh ideas end up being awesome ideas. So I never I never shut, like, it would have to be pretty far-fetched. It would have to be way off where I'm like, that's not
where you would shut it down.
Brand identity. Yeah. Okay. But for the most part, I'd be like, not seeing where you're going with this, but let's put it in our back pockets. Let's flush it out a little bit later. Let's like develop that a little bit later.
I like that. That's a good way to say it.
Well, because I don't have all the answers to everything.
It's true.
Sway, I ain't got all the answers, Sway.
So like,
I mean, I'm not a genius. Like, I'm never gonna be too smart or too forward thinking to accept other ideas from other people. I just need to, like, if the vision doesn't make, if the picture isn't painted for me, I might be like, not quite seeing how that fits, but like, let's revisit,
Let's revisit. That's great. So how do you stop all of the conversations that you have about the brand, like in other areas of your life? So let's say you're at dinner.
Oh God, I do this all the time.
Right. Because that can happen where every conversation now becomes about your brand and not about you and him. So how do you draw boundaries between the times where you're talking about the brand and times where you're talking about your own lives and everything that's happening with you? Because that can be really challenging.
Yeah.
Can be having dinner and he gets an email and it's like, what happened with Forever? Anything can happen. And it's like, I'm sure
all the time.
I'm sure he has to be, right? It's part of having your small business. You have to always be on. So how do you stop it from just taking over the relationship?
So I think there's definitely levels to this. Okay. When you're first starting, naturally, you're going to be more invested than you would under normal circumstances, right? It's only year 2 for us. So it's like, I'm going to be a bit more forgiving because Dennis is definitely a workaholic. Like, he does not turn the button off, but that's because the business is so new that you kind of have to be that committed. Sure. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm just like, it's okay. Like, I'm not going to, he gets up like 2 hours earlier than I do every day.
Okay.
Like, he's up and at it. Okay, and I don't take it personally because honestly, like, I don't want to do all that. Like, as long as it's taken care of, like, it's fine. But however, when it comes to like dinner, for me, I'm like an evening person. So like after work hours, I don't want to hear that. Like, if it ain't urgent, I'll just be like, babes, let's not talk about work. How was your day? Yeah. And then sometimes he'll like trail off and then start like the conversation will naturally get back to work. And I'm like, no, babes, like, how are you doing? And then he's like, oh, okay, I got it. I'm going back into work. But
he needs that though.
Yeah. Cause he doesn't even realize he's doing it. Right. So I'm not going to like beat the guy down about it. I'm just like, hey, like, I don't want to talk about that right now.
That's good.
Pass the corn, please. Chicken. Like, because I feel like it's important, especially for entrepreneurs. Like, we don't really have a clocking off moment.
Exactly.
So balance is very important. Yes. And I just don't think I would be able to function like even in a healthy way if I just talked about work all the time.
It's not healthy. It's not. You need balance. That's good. So what are some of the pros and cons of building a brand on a social media platform?
The obvious pros are you have a built-in customer base that is willing to give you a chance because they trust you if you are trustworthy, because unfortunately, not every creator is trustworthy, but you almost kind of get like a leg up, which is awesome because when we first started candles, it was like unexpected.
Mhm.
But then I think it clicked for people that were like, oh, well, Jackie loves home fragrance and scent. So they were like, actually, it does kind of make sense.
Okay.
But I think they expected makeup naturally.
Definitely expected makeup.
They all expected makeup, which is why when we first launched the brand name and we teased it, because we didn't just come out the gate and tell them candles. We just like teased the name. And I was like, by the way, before y'all get excited, it's not makeup.
Okay.
And I wanted to just like shut that down just before anyone got, their hopes high.
Yes.
But I think the pros are, again, having the built-in, like, people who will give you a chance, which is nice. The cons is that actually can work to your disadvantage as well, because people will assume because you have a lot of followers that you're automatically going to be established and perfect. And it's just not the case. And, this conversation has so many nuances because Black-owned brands get a ton of criticism. And in my opinion, I feel like it's quite harsh because someone will say, like, I just don't really understand why when people criticize our businesses, it has to be because we're Black owned. Like, you'll experience that same thing anywhere. Right. What does me being Black have to do with the fact that shipping was late? Like, I'm not the one shipping the product. It's stuck overseas. Like, that's just the reality of like thousands of small businesses right now.
Yes.
We're all dealing with the same thing. Even designer labels, like last year and the year before that, they were having like issues with products getting stuck overseas.
Oh, yes.
Shipping, logistics. Deal. It's been a big deal.
Yes.
So it just, I think, can be hurtful when people will say, oh, well, you would think because you have so many followers, you have your stuff together. And it's like, I'm going to experience the same growing pains and the same startup issues every single other startup experiences. Me having millions of followers has nothing to do with that. Like, it just does not make the process any more perfect, any more seamless. I wish it did. Like, trust me, I would love for you to have the product.
Of course.
Like,
of course.
Don't you think I want you to receive it and post about it?
Right.
So I've noticed that can come up. People will hold you to a higher standard because you're so visible, because you have more followers. And again, being harsher to visible Black-owned brands. And I see this happen with other Black-owned brands as well. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the whole issue with Honey Pot that was happening a couple months ago.
I'm not
even going to get into
I did not know that was Black-owned brand.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So that was a whole different thing. But yeah, I think just the criticism can be a bit harsher when you have a lot of followers.
Okay.
And when you're like looked at as like a social media brand.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
And because you're the face of it. So they have a face too, versus a brand that's faceless. You're Black owned, but they don't know you're Black, or they don't know your face.
Yeah.
So it is a lot more difficult. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way. And I wonder if it's coming from Black people or if it's coming from, so it's Black people being hard on Black brands, which is really, really sad.
But the thing is I don't want to play into, like, the majority of my followers are also Black people.
Okay.
So two things can exist at the same time. Like, it's not like I'm saying, oh, well, Black people, because you know how people love being like, well, Black people never support our own. I don't believe that. I don't buy into that.
They support.
Most of my supporters, my diehards, are Black people.
Oh, yes. 100%.
Black women specifically.
100%.
So I don't believe that. But also, the criticism is going to be harsher because these are people who see themselves in you. So it's almost like too close for comfort in a way.
I see what you're saying.
Like, it's almost like I relate to her, so I'm going to judge her harsher.
I see.
And also the thing that can be unfortunate about a social media brand is if the brand does something that the audience or the customers doesn't like, they will attack me as a person. And I don't think that's okay. Right. So like when we first launched and we were having shipping was a mess because when we launched, we did not expect to get the amount of support that we did. Okay. And a lot of people were asking us like, well, what did you expect? I'm like, not this. Like, there's no way to predict if a brand is going to be successful at all. I don't care what people think. I don't care how many followers you have. There's no way to predict if a brand is going to be successful.
It's true.
And if you do think that you're just so perfect and that your brand is going to just like clear shelves and empty carts, then maybe you need to get that's what we call an inflated ego. You never want to assume.
No, you don't.
No, you never want to assume you're going to be an overnight success. Like, I don't know. So when we first launched and people were buying the product like crazy, we were not equipped. We didn't have the staff. We didn't have the manpower. Like, we just weren't there.
That's a blessing.
It's a good blessing, but a scary one nonetheless. But instead of being like, oh, this sucks. I want a refund. It's like, now I'm a scammer. Now I'm a fraudster. No, and then it was worse. It was Dennis. Yeah. Oh, overnight.
So quick.
Dennis is a scammer. Jackie and Dennis are fraudsters.
Gosh.
It's like, never mind the fact that like the product is like, I'm confused. Like I'm so confused.
Yeah.
When
and
did we get
hurtful
here?
because that's personal.
It's
that's
also unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times I've come to discover that the people who were some of the people that said the nastiest things, you reach out to them personally.
Oh, I know.
Oh, they're so nice.
Sweet. So sweet. Yes.
I'm sure this was just a misunderstanding.
Right.
You just called me the B. Why did you like, why does it have to be one extreme?
Right. Right. I don't understand that.
I don't understand it either.
I don't know where that comes from. But I mean, they got your attention. Maybe that's the goal. But don't do that. That's not a good way to get her attention because she's not going to respond to people doing that anymore.
It's not necessary. And also, like, you don't like, you can look at my content, look at the comments and see I respond to like every type of content. I mean, comment. Yeah. I'll respond to people who have questions about product. I'll respond to people who are just being sweet. You don't have to say something like inflammatory just for shock value. People do it for like retweets and shock value. Really. I see. Especially when someone's like well liked. I feel like there are people who get off on being like the unpopular opinion. So they'll say stuff to like, oh, you guys' fave is a scammer. And it's just like, yes, you can just see right through it. So that's why whenever I see stuff like that, I always just reach out to them directly. Let me just fix this and get you a refund because you clearly are disgruntled and whatever. Like I actually try to take my personal feelings out of it.
Right.
And if it's a real customer, I'll just hit them up and just resolve it quick. So when people are just like,
I know,
unnecessarily nasty and like that can be hurtful.
Yeah.
So because I don't feel like you need to come after someone as a person. Like if you're upset, every dollar is valuable as a customer. So I get it. Like I understand how it feels to like just want the product or you just want your money back. I get it.
Yes.
But you ain't got to do all that.
And like you said, it's hard to know exactly what goes into a product unless you have a brand. And if you don't, you just think it's just some easy thing that she has at her house and she doesn't want to send it to you. And it's just not the case.
I know.
But you've done amazing in terms of just being able to balance that.
Now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Ladies, a large part of living a softer and slower life is by receiving help from others, especially when trying to solve a problem. It can be tough to train your brain to stay in problem-solving mode when faced with a challenge in life. A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. As a psychologist, I enjoy seeing clients enter my office in a stressed and overwhelmed state of mind and leaving feeling lighter, more confident, and more assured. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can help get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/feminine today to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/feminine. Thanks, BetterHelp.
So being as that you have to deal with so much on social media, just from your presence to now your brand and just having a vlog channel, maybe just even your personal life. How do you take care of yourself in terms of your mental health? So that way you are able to separate yourself a little bit from what goes on online versus your personal life.
So this is something I've been implementing lately, but I treat social media like business hours now. So I try not to I don't ever get on social media first thing in the morning. Sometimes I can go hours without actually checking Twitter, checking TikTok, checking any of the platforms. I treat it like work hours, work time. Like I allot times of the day instead of just like endlessly scrolling, because even sometimes if you see something online that isn't necessarily about you, don't you feel like weighed down when you just reading negativity online in general?
Yes.
So for me, I kind of have to be like, oof, this is not, I don't want to be a person who's like chronically, that's what people are saying, the Gen Zers, they say, you're chronically online. And when they say that, I know what they're talking about.
Right.
Just the people who are just like, they know every morsel of what's going on, when it's happening, why it's happening, where it started, when things go by. They know they're chronically online.
That's too
I don't want to
much.
be that person.
No.
So I just log off.
Okay.
I log off.
Okay.
I put my phone down.
That's good.
I put my phone down.
Are there ever times where, let's say you post something and you just choose not to even read the comments until like a certain time of the day, or not at all at times, just so that you're separate from the content? Or do you like to really be hands-on when you do a post or you do a video?
Yeah. I do like to post stuff and then just kind of camp in the comments just to make sure everything looks okay. Because you never know, like you could have like a nip slip or something. You just want to make sure. Because like people in the comments, the first comments will tell you the tea on
that's true.
Just to be safe. So I just try to like make sure there was no like mistakes or errors in the video or anything that needs to be taken out of the video.
Okay.
So that's what I wait around for. And then after that, I'll just kind of let people do what they do. I'll check back in like every other hour and just say, hey, like in case people have questions and stuff. So I'll kind of do that. But it's not like I sit there for the first hour, scroll, refresh. No.
That's good. So when you first started YouTube, I remember, well, I don't know if this is when you first started, but I remember years ago when you were working at Mac as a makeup artist, then you were doing your YouTube videos, and there was a lot going on even in your personal life with your family, maybe them not understanding, why are you doing YouTube and why are you doing makeup and all this stuff? But yet you were finding success there. How did you manage just the perceptions of people with what you were doing, especially looking back now, where it's brought you? How were you able to mentally manage other people's thoughts about what you're doing versus the reality of what you're doing?
Well, the reality is when I first started YouTube, like I wasn't actually career successful until like year 5, 6.
Okay.
Like I wasn't actually making livable money until like well over half a decade.
Wow.
So that's a long time.
It's a long time. And people would not think that.
No.
They would just expect that you're rolling in money.
No.
Because you have a lot of numbers.
No. Oh, no. And especially back then, like it wasn't as easy to monetize as it is now.
That's true.
And I think which is great because like now you don't need to have millions of followers to make like a good living on social media. Like we've come a long way. But back then, no. You needed to, like if you didn't have 500K, no one cared. I'll even go as far as to say like, back when I first started in 2009, if you had like 100,000, that was
a
huge.
lot. That
was huge.
Yes.
So I was finding my flow and not quite doing it full time. So in the first couple years, I mean, you know how the climate was back then. Like it was actually kind of cheesy to be a vlogger.
It was fun.
No, it was fun, but it was like for people who didn't
know it. They thought it was so strange.
They thought it was so strange, especially Africans. Like they don't really like, they're like, okay, so when are you going to go back to school? They see one or the other. They don't understand like the nuances of having hobbies and stuff, like doing stuff that's not just workaholic stuff. So it was, I was just trying to change the subject. Like whenever people would mention it, because like you'd go to these family parties and people would mention your videos and it'd be so embarrassing. And I'd be like, yeah.
Did you ever get to the point in your life where you ever felt like you needed therapy just to deal with so much going on, being someone who is online? I mean, you're constantly in people's faces. People think that they have the right to talk about the way you look, the way you sound, the way you speak. I mean, everything is judged constantly. And then you have your personal life and whatever's going on there. Do you ever feel like you ever needed to talk to someone else who was just away from all of this, who just was just totally separate?
Yeah, I think therapy is so important if you're a content creator.
Okay.
Especially if you have a lot of followers. I think it is incredibly easy to kind of get sucked into because here's the thing with when it comes to having like a big following, sometimes you have two extremes. You have people that are like overly positive that you can get sucked in and consumed into that, which is not always a good thing. I hate to say it because you need balance. You need people who are checking you, holding you accountable, but in a good way. And you also have the opposite extreme where people are just really disgusting and nasty and can be borderline harassing towards you. So I think navigating that path without outside unbiased like professional help is incredibly challenging. So I think therapy, like I encourage it. I encourage it for everyone. If you have access to it. I know therapy is not unfortunately the most accessible thing. It should be, but I think it's a non-negotiable for like every living being, especially Black women in America, Black women globally. But
I agree.
We need therapy so bad.
And men.
Yeah, especially men.
Especially
yeah.
men.
But yeah, it's like crucial. It's very crucial. Because sometimes you just want to like talk about stuff and like, no, you're not crazy. No, like, okay, I'm valid in experiencing this. Like, why do I experience this? Why does this remark trigger me? Why is it that when someone says this, it bothers me?
It's so freeing to be able to understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so
And it
too.
helps. During my baby shower, when you came to my baby shower, you left a beautiful message for me.
Like 8, 9? Church. It's been that long. Yeah. I just want to say to both of you guys, I know we're here to celebrate the baby, but as parents, make sure you're taking care of you as well and each other. And I wish many blessings to both of you guys individually and as partners, as marriage partners. And I just hope that you guys never lose sight of that long after parenthood, because that's number one. And babies are cool too, but we got to take care of, got to take care of us too. So many blessings to you guys. I love you guys, and I'm just so happy to celebrate both of you.
It was something that you told me. I don't know if you remember, but you said that when I have the baby, it's really important that I take care of myself. You said, having the baby is great and everything. Being a mom is wonderful, but always make sure to take care of yourself. And I remembered that because it is so challenging to take care of myself. I remember you saying that. How do you take care of yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling maybe mentally bogged down? What do you do to just allow yourself to feel better in terms of something that maybe other people could take inspiration from?
So this probably isn't a good thing, but unfortunately, my method of taking care of myself usually ends up being like isolation. Like, I just need to be by myself.
I thought you were going to say ice cream.
No, heck no. Unless it's vegan, because I don't eat dairy. But I saw like a quote. Apparently, it was like from a therapist that said, if your method of like taking care of yourself is isolation, or I think it said something like, if your method of dealing with anxiety is like isolation, then you're probably like overwhelmed as a child or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I don't remember exactly what the quote is.
I see what you're saying.
Commented or whatever. But I was like, wow, I do kind of like mentally check out. Like I just am like, all right, I'm gonna go in this corner, like phones off. Like I just completely fall off the grid. I need to completely pull away. And my fiance is really good about giving me enough space. Cause I actually, when I mean isolate, I don't mean him. Like we live together, obviously. Like I don't mind being around him. I actually prefer it.
Okay.
But, and he's like he's my comfort zone. So when I need to pull away from people, it's not him. It's actually the opposite with him. Okay. But in general, like, not answering text messages. And it's probably not the best because people mean well and they want to like see if I'm okay. Right. But a lot of times in the moment, like I kind of can't, like you're overwhelmed. Yeah. Sometimes I just need to be by myself. So that's probably one of the things maybe I can improve on. Maybe I'm doing right. I don't know.
I think it's a good thing. You're recharging.
Yeah.
And you're taking time to think about your situation, think about how you feel. I think it's important that you're able to do that. And I think that that's actually something that's a luxury because not everyone has the ability to be able to isolate.
Yeah.
Not everyone has a space to be by themselves, the time to be by themselves. I mean, it's a good thing that you can do it and that you do.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something that you should change. As long as the people who you love know you're okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's important.
I don't just completely fall off the radar where I'm just like, okay, where were you? Like staying in a hotel for 2 weeks? No. But also to your point, I think because, I come from like a big family. So I was always like my entire life has been like sacrificing my time and myself for other people as like the third parent, firstborn immigrant daughter. But always having to give myself and be available to other people. So now that I'm an adult, you don't really unlearn that behavior. I reference my childhood a lot because that's a long time to like have the same learned behavior. And then when you have the ability to live by yourself, you're like, okay, I'm going to recluse now because I've never had the chance to do that. And it's kind of hard to like unlearn that.
Oh yeah.
Because you're so used to like the opposite treatment for so many decades. And then you get your own space and you're like,
perfect.
Don't call me. Don't text me.
Yes.
I'm out.
Absolutely. It's so important that even if you, I think, live in a place where you have a lot of people and you have the ability to leave every now and then, whether it's just to go to a hotel for a day or on a girls' trip, it's nice to do that just to be able to have your own space. As long as you're not like hanging out at like random guys' houses.
Yeah.
Because
put yourself in a weird.
Yeah, just to not be home, right?
To not be home. I'm unwinding.
Right.
At the Four Seasons with some random producer guy. No, girl. Take your butt home.
Talking about how much of a luxury it is to be able to be by yourself and just unwind and light a candle and relax. I consider that a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is luxury, especially as a Black woman? Because I know Black women a lot of times don't feel like they deserve to have luxury in their lives because maybe they see luxury as certain things like having a lot of money or having very expensive bags. What is luxury to you?
This is the controversial question of the year.
Is it?
It's been like a debate.
Really?
You know, the whole Black women in luxury has been like,
yeah.
whenever Black women enjoy stuff, notice how
the conversation changes.
Conversation shifts. I just find it interesting. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I just find it interesting.
Well, tell me about it. What is it that you see that's interesting?
I know we hate the L word, but you know, Black women in luxury has been sort of a whole movement, even though I don't really think it's a movement. My life is very, very different now to how it was when I first started my channel. And to me, it's kind of like, well, why not embrace that? And why not show people the ins and outs of the things that I enjoy doing outside of beauty? First of all, to me, I think luxury is like time. Luxury is access. Luxury is like, I don't see luxury as just like tangible things.
Right.
To an extent, right?
Right.
But then there is the literal definition of luxury, like a bag or an expensive pair of shoes or expensive real estate. Yes, those are also luxuries. But luxury, I think, is a bit of a sort of ambiguous term.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just tangible stuff. But the conversation that I find interesting is that there's like this whole, you know, niche specific type of content on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube about Black women in luxury.
Okay.
And I find it interesting that a lot of the criticism about this type of content is that people will say, well, you know, everybody doesn't relate to this, which is true. And then they'll say, this isn't going to dismantle racism or white supremacy, which is true.
Okay.
But my question is, why is that her responsibility? Like, why is that on the individual women that you follow on Instagram to dismantle systems they literally did not create? Like, I'm confused. And also, like, the same could be said for every genre and every category of content on every platform. Right. Not everybody's going to be into gaming. Not everybody's going to be into makeup. Makeup is not relatable for everyone.
No, it's not. Do you think that that niche of Black women in luxury was something that was needed in the Black community?
I don't know if I think it's like, I think needed is probably like a strong word, but I think it's okay. Like, I think it's acceptable. I think every type of content that makes Black women look good, period, is okay and acceptable. Like, I don't think that's positive. A bad thing. I think it's a positive. As long as the person isn't like doing something that's not authentic to them. Right. Because if you're, you know, maybe taking pictures in front of things that aren't yours, like, like, okay, girl, like, we get it. We get that you like the aesthetic, but it's a little weird. Like, it's a little weird as long as you're not like faking it.
Sure. Just
to say you're in the crowd.
Right.
I don't see the problem with it. And I don't understand why is it that seemingly anytime Black women enjoy stuff, there has to be like this repelled, oh, well, that's not, because, okay, so this is the reason why I feel like the conversations that are against Black women in luxury, in my opinion, are a little, they're very interesting because I, for years, did not make a lot of money on social media. And I couldn't always afford to get my nails done. My hair didn't always look perfect. I didn't always wear nice clothes. I didn't always wear nice stuff. I didn't always have a nice apartment or a nice place to live, period. But I was still creating content.
Okay.
The way people would talk about me, they would dog me out. I mean,
why?
Because you're a social media influencer. You're supposed to be perfect. So it's such a like double-edged sword.
I see what you're saying.
Where like if you don't present yourself to have a lot of money, but you have a lot of followers, why do you live in that apartment? Where's your furniture at? Where's this? Where's that? It's like such a double-edged sword when you're a creator because people will get in the comments and make fun of you for not being perfect and not being rich.
Right.
But then when you're rich, they'll say you're not relatable. But then when you related to me, you dogged me out
Right.
and talked about me. So it's like, I just feel like y'all just criticize everything Black women do.
To do it.
So you might as well do what is natural and authentic to you, because
Absolutely.
they're always gonna find something. Like, they're always gonna find something.
But isn't it inspirational for someone to see you as a young woman just in Hawaii doing makeup and not having the nicest clothes and the nicest house, the nicest nails, and then seeing you today in a beautiful place and beautiful makeup? And isn't it inspirational to see? Wouldn't someone just look at that and say, wow, look at her. She did that. Maybe I can do it too.
I mean, you would think.
I mean, I think
it would
that's,
inspire me.
That's how I would see it.
Yeah,
I think
it would inspire me. It inspires me.
Thing.
I love to see someone who, started from, well, for me, I started from nothing. Like, I didn't have nothing in my name. And I do enjoy the blossoming of people, their personalities, their careers. Like, it's like, wow. And also, like, being there from the start, I think is really cool. So that definitely inspires me. Maybe not other people, and that's okay. But if it's not for you, minding your business is free. Like, I don't understand why it bothers people so much.
Well, I think there's an element of jealousy sometimes when it comes to luxury, because people maybe can't afford it. Or sometimes people who do like certain things maybe come off as materialistic, and people have a problem with that. Again, because I think that there's some jealousy involved. Maybe they wish that they could buy this Louis Vuitton bag or go to this expensive spa, right? And I think that sometimes gets in the way of being able to draw from it, because again, some young girl in Chicago maybe that lives in a really dangerous neighborhood and sees something like this could say, wow, I didn't know that I was able to get a massage while I'm pregnant or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but
well, that's the thing. My best friend got pregnancy massages.
Yeah, like maybe they just see something that's like, this is an interesting thing that I would like to have one day. And because I see this Black woman who's able to do it, I'm putting it in my mind as something that I want to do in the future, as opposed to not seeing anyone do it.
Anyone that looks like you
do it, right?
You're going to think it's not possible.
Exactly.
But I think that's probably why the content repels people so much. For the not fully, because obviously it's such a viral, like, everybody. There's a lot of people who really support Black women in luxury, just like bougie Black girls. Like, they're here for it. But I think on the opposite end, it doesn't hurt to see someone who looks like you experiencing those things. And it doesn't always inspire other people. That's okay. I just don't understand, why did the conversation, it's like people start bringing up systems and isms, and it's like, but those things existed before. Like, I'm confused. Like, we're losing the plot, because these things existed before, and then these things will exist after. We didn't start the problem. Like, what do you expect? It's like this rat race of like always trying to like be good enough, accepted. And I think people have a problem with successful Black women being proudly successful. What's crazy is, like, for a very long time, I knew that once people knew I was doing good, like, I knew that their perceptions would change about me, even if nothing else changed.
Absolutely.
I knew.
Absolutely.
So there was a lot of stuff that I never posted.
Okay.
Never shared.
Okay.
Never, ever, because I was just like, nope. Strictly here for makeup. Strictly here for beauty.
I see.
We're not going to do luxury unboxings. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that.
They can't handle it.
Never show it.
They can't handle it. And it could even be people in your personal life, right?
Oh, that's a whole different. But I knew, once they see those things, if I did nothing different, they're going to say I changed.
Wow. Just because you could afford it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
And that's exactly what not all people, that's exactly what people did. And so when I posted my first video, my coming back video to YouTube, someone was like, I stopped watching your content because I feel like you were materialistic and da-da-da-da. What's so funny about that statement is that, why do you get to judge my character just because I can afford a better quality of life? Because what does materialistic even mean?
We all buy the same materials. You're just buying maybe a better.
I have access to more stuff. It doesn't mean it makes or like, it doesn't mean I dream about Louis Vuitton bags or Birkins. Like, it doesn't mean any of those things. Like, when people, I just feel like these words are so coded because it's like, what does that even mean? Like, what makes me materialistic? Because I can afford stuff? That doesn't automatically make me materialistic.
I think people consider a person materialistic if they
flashy.
If they flash it, if they buy a lot of something that's expensive.
Am I flashing it, or do you see it because it's there?
Right.
So which one is it? That's what I'm saying. It's like, that may be a big deal to you, but that's like not that big of a deal to me. It's one of many. I don't care. It's just a bag. Like I'm not emotionally attached to my stuff. I have nice stuff, but the stuff will come and go. I don't really care about the stuff. Right. I buy it because fortunately I'm really blessed and I have access to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the bags over my fiance. Like it doesn't work that way.
And you know what, Jackie, something about you that I think is so beautiful is that you give back a lot. And I'm not even saying that one has to, but you visibly give back so much. Even when you were starting off, I remember you would go and help women who were in shelters and you would do their makeup and you would donate. I would come to your house and you would have boxes and boxes of things that you were donating to people, like nice things.
Yeah, we still do.
And it's like, no one has to even see or know about all the things you do because you've done so many things, even for your followers. You've paid for, they don't know half of what you've done. And I think that's unfortunate as well because people just assume, okay, yes, you have all this money and you're buying all these bags, which you could do and never help anyone a day in your life if you wanted to, but they don't see the other side either.
I feel like people see what they want to see, honestly. I feel like people just see what they want to see. And like I said, once people realize like, oh, she's successful now, like I can't really like her. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. I know it is a very first world problem. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's the worst thing to be called, but it's kind of like, that's disappointing.
I think it hurts more if it's someone that you probably know personally. I think
it used to.
Okay.
And then I started realizing that's a you problem.
Yes.
You're going to have to sleep at night thinking that about me because I'm not here to prove disprove anything that you made up about me.
Or bring yourself down. Or bring yourself down just to please the person.
No, because you've seen like my upbringing. I don't remember if you ever visited like my childhood house.
I didn't.
That hot mess of a house.
I didn't visit it, but I know that you came from such humble beginnings, which I think is just so beautiful that you're able to rise from that. It's so inspirational. Like for me, I would draw as much as I could from that and say, how did you do this? And that would be what I'm interested in, not being jealous and upset that you have it. I mean, my goodness, I don't even know how you did it.
I don't even know how the hell I did either. But I just feel like it's crazy because like your whole life, you struggle. Yeah. And then if you're fortunate enough, you make something of yourselves, then you struggle to prove you're still human and likable because of it.
I know.
So it gets to a point where it's like,
no, you're done.
Nah, we're good here. Like you're good. Yes. We're good here. Like I've had enough. I've had enough stuff to deal with. I've had enough struggle. I've had enough, being in the trenches. Like I'll be damned if I work this hard to get here to still be miserable and not like myself because of how other people pursue me. No, you can keep it. That's a personal problem. But I also think that's maturity. Like with maturity, you're just like, okay, like you were going to think that anyway.
Yes.
Like I've been on the flip side. I've been the one that everyone loved. And then I've been the one that everyone hated. Not fully, but like, just like dragged, canceled. I've been both. And when I started to realize like, you were going to do that anyway.
Yeah. You're just waiting for an opportunity.
You just needed an opportunity.
Yeah.
So we're good. I don't have to prove anything anymore. Like you already had your mind made up. It's okay, sweetie. Like you're not a bad person. You're just a little misguided, maybe a little angry. Maybe you got something going on personal. Don't take it personal. You just move on because that's their cross to bear, not mine.
No, that's good. And that to me is a real luxury, is being able to have peace of mind.
Yeah. Luxury. Peace of mind is the number one luxury.
Yes.
That I think is probably the number one thing that was on my list was I really wanted peace of mind. I didn't want to like go to sleep at night worrying how I was going to pay for stuff, how I was going to eat in the morning.
I know.
Having to juggle things like rent or food. I never want to experience those things again. It's not fun.
I know.
I never want to experience those things again.
I know.
And I have. And I think when you are that rock bottom, and then you finally have the peace of mind that you worked so hard for, and you are still worried about being liked, you have to pick, okay, this is not, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't put other people's perceptions of me number one, because you'll always be miserable.
You don't have the control.
No, I have no control over what people think of me.
Yes. Well, I think you're wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yours.
Relationships. You are engaged. Show me that ring, girl. Ooh, wait, that ring is so beautiful.
Thank you. So is yours.
Thank you, girl. It's like super shiny.
I know.
So you are engaged to Dennis.
Yes.
And you had a beautiful engagement. You were in what country?
We were in Santorini.
Santorini. Oh,
yeah,
such a
nice.
beautiful, beautiful place.
I know.
And I know that you're preparing for a wedding, but you haven't discussed your wedding at all.
Thing. Crickets from us.
Crickets.
We don't post nothing about that wedding.
And why is that? Why aren't you talking to us about your wedding?
Because I feel like when it comes to being a content creator, being an influencer, first of all, I think people overshare way too much in general online. Like some of y'all need to stop posting when you literally piss, because like we don't need to know that. It's not our business. Some people just share too much.
Yes.
And I just feel like it's nice to have a balance of like things that are personal, things that are public, things that are not, you know?
Absolutely.
So we just decided from day one, maybe I didn't put much thought into it before we got engaged, but I had already made up my mind like I was not going to be that person that put all of that out there.
Okay.
I think even before we got engaged, but also I think it's different because, you know, I'm a divorcee. So I have like a sort of different perception to weddings and marriage than I think the average person. Okay. You are just a bit more cautious in what you share and how you involve people in certain things. Okay. And I definitely just feel like I look at things differently. I prioritize things differently. And I just think that is something, well, it's not an opinion. It is sacred. Like weddings are very sacred. Yes. And I also just don't want opinions on everything. It can be a lot. I've tried to plan a wedding before when I got married the first time. It's overwhelming, let alone when you have like thousands of people adding input. Yes. It is so overwhelming. And I just did not want to factor those things in. So we shared the engagement because one, it was beautiful and Dennis put so much preparation into it. And definitely like one of the best days of my life, absolutely hands down. But honestly, the only reason why we shared that was because you were going to find out I was engaged one way or another.
Right.
So I might as well. But even then, I never told people we're going to document. Never. Because I just never, I've never been that kind of creator. Like I don't put stuff out there like that. Yeah. We've never really been like a public relationship couple. Like people obviously know I'm with them. Right. But we're not a couples channel. Even when we had our couples channel, it was about traveling, right? But we never really put our relationship relationship. So we planned on keeping it like that.
But you are still getting married.
Yeah, of course.
You're still having a wedding.
Yeah, but like people just don't like the fact that I'm not an open book about it, and it's like, but it's been like that since day one, guys. Like, because I think it would be different if like we tease things about the wedding, and then all of a sudden we were like, nope. Not respect our privacy, but like I've never even posted dress shopping, nothing. Like we got engaged and that was it. Right. And I intentionally kept it private, kept it offline, and I was never planning on changing that. And me and Dennis were very much on the same page. We were just like, we don't really want to vlog this. Like we just kind of want to
keep it private.
Ourselves. It may seem radical, but I'm like, that's the way it used to be back in the day, people did not post their business like this. Now it's haywire. Yes, but it almost seems like now it's a radical movement to like not being
when you don't.
So I'm like confused because I'm just like, isn't that like normal?
Right. People just they want to be there. They want to be at your wedding. They want to know every detail,
which is fine. But like, as not even as a creator, as a person, it's just not wise to tell everybody everything all the time. You know what I mean? Like
that's great advice.
Yeah,
that's great advice.
Even if you aren't a creator, you can't tell everybody everything.
You shouldn't. And speaking of advice, what are some key elements that you think are important to have in a relationship? Like absolutely necessary elements.
Communication, number one. Okay. You gotta be able to like say what you mean and mean what you say. So if something's bothering you, don't be passive aggressive. Don't drop breadcrumbs and try to make hints. Just go to your partner and say, you said this. What did you mean by that? You know, because before I react, I just want to make sure. Or if you know, hey, when you did this, it hurt my feelings. And then sometimes the person will be like, oh my God, I didn't even realize it. I'm sorry. You know, and you give them the opportunity to fix it because that's what you do. And I think the best advice is to still look at your relationship like a friendship. Okay. So like if I'm playing a scenario in my head, like if something happens to me and Dennis, I'm like, if this was my best friend, how would I react?
Okay. I like
You
that.
know what I
It's
mean?
a good way to look at
Like,
it.
treat your partner like you would a friend.
Right.
And if you can't look at them as a friend,
Then
that's a problem.
that's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a good advice.
Yeah.
I
I think you should treat them like you would treat your best friend, because that's what they are. That's your
what
best
they are.
friend.
Yeah.
So if Dennis does something and I'm like, what's going on here, sir?
Right.
I'll bring it to him. And a lot of times it's just like, oh, I didn't even realize, or, you know, but giving that person the benefit of the doubt instead of being like sneaky or sneak this. And first of all, keep your business offline. I cannot stand when, I love my friends. Most of them actually don't even do this. But you know how, like, when you're following somebody and you can tell they're going through with their partner because they start posting quotes and they start resharing. Yes. You're going to lose something valuable one day. Like them weird, cryptic.
Oh, yeah.
Just
don't even do that.
Nobody cares.
Don't even do that.
Like, go and tell it to your partner.
Yes.
And if you cannot communicate that stuff with your partner, that's probably a bigger red flag. But the internet cannot help you, and that's not what they're there for.
It actually just makes things worse.
It does make things worse.
It does. So
Absolutely.
That's great advice. How do you deal with conflict in your relationship?
I'm a pretty head-on person.
Okay.
If something feels weird, I'll just tell the person right then and there.
Okay.
Because it'll really bother me. It'll like fester at me. So I just have to say it. Like, why'd you do that? Like, somebody else literally just be like, why'd you do that? Like, I'm confused. Like, am I missing something? Like, can you piece it together for me?
Okay.
And it works well.
That's good. That's good.
It works well.
That's good.
I'd rather just like confront and be wrong instead of overthinking it. Cause you know, I can't be an overthinker, and I don't want to, I'd rather just free my thoughts and my anxiety of that feeling and
let it be done and over with.
Let it be done and over with.
That's good.
Let it be done and over with.
I have a popular question from the audience.
Ooh, okay.
So you can answer this. How do you not lose yourself in a relationship? If you're dating someone and you're so involved with them and you're just in the clouds or on cloud nine, whatever they say. How do you not lose yourself in that? If you're with them all the time, you're constantly thinking of them, talking to them, and you're thinking about your future, you're just wrapped up in them. What do you do to make sure that you don't lose yourself and completely mesh yourself with this person?
That's such a good question. And I feel like when you love someone, you literally like want to crawl inside of them because you just don't want to separate. Like, that's how it feels to be in love. And that's what I have. But this is also, I think, a maturity thing. Keep your friendships intact. It's so important, especially to have women friendships. Okay. Because I know a lot of people like to push this narrative. Oh, women are this and that. You're probably the problem. If you don't have girlfriends, you're the problem. I know you're not going to like this answer, but with maturity, trust me, it is so important to have other women around you. It is crucial. Keeping your friendships intact and not losing your personhood. Like my relationship is one thing and my individual personhood is another. Right. And I value that so much. Like, we're sort of a package deal, but we're still two different people. So I still try to cherish and hold on to things that I like doing on my own. Like, I keep a sense of individualism. So like having my own hobbies, alone time with myself. And this is something that I practice every day. So like every morning, I'm usually like doing my morning routine by myself. Cause like Dennis will already have started work. Cause like I said, he gets up 2 hours earlier than me. He is like a morning person. Yeah. But spending time, some peaceful time to yourself is so important. Yes. And when your friends make plans with you, it's okay to leave the house and follow through. Your man will be fine. So yeah, I think, but keeping your friends is a big one.
I think that's so true. That's so true. A lot of times it's always like, no, I can't. Because you're with your significant other. So
you'll still be there when you get back. You'll be all right. Yeah. He'll be all right. He's grown. He can take care of himself.
So I have a fragrance line called Fine Forever.
Yeah. Just a little fragrance line.
Just a little something. And we just launched 2 new fragrances. I want you to smell them.
2?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
What?
2 new fragrances. It's called the Faith Collection. So
that's beautiful.
Yes, they're 2 faith related fragrances. And they smell completely different. Ooh. And they smell different than the debut fragrance, 2911, which that one you have.
Yeah. Me and Dennis both love it.
Yeah. Oh, really? He likes it?
Yeah, he does.
Wow, so many men wear this fragrance. It's so interesting to me.
I like how I feel like we're reclaiming women perfume, men perfume. Like, Dennis will wear rose. Dennis will wear peach. He'll wear vanillas. He wears
Really?
everything. He does not shy away. Like, even if it looks girly, air quotes girly, he'll wear it. Like, perfume is perfume. It smells good. It smells good.
And I'm sure it smells good on him.
It smells really good on him.
Yeah.
And every time he smells, I'm like, what? I always forget because like it smells different on him.
Yes.
So I'm like, what is that? Kind of like when I smelled you, I was just like, what is that? I've smelled that before. And then he told me and I was like, oh, it smells completely different.
Right.
Yeah, it smells so good on him. He loves it. And we both do.
That's great. Thank you so much. So I want you to smell it and I want you to let me know what you think.
So does that mean this is my time
Yes.
to open her up? Okay. Ooh. Ooh, this is ooh, this is stunning.
Thank
Silent
you.
Storm and Mustard Seed.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay, packaging.
Yes, girl.
So what was the inspo with the name?
So mustard seed is based off of a scripture saying that if you have the faith of a mustard seed, then you could say to a mountain, move, and it would move. So mustard seed is a like happy, uplifting fragrance, very like outdoor gardening, going to the beach.
This is very citrusy. I smell citrus.
Okay.
This smells really good.
Thank you.
It's yeah. I think of like the color yellow. Actually, this smells like the color yellow.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going
It's
for.
like zest. It's upbeat. It's friendly. Definitely a daytime fragrance. Definitely outdoors.
Yes.
There's definitely some fruit in here too.
Yes.
Yeah. I smell fruity, citrusy, and floral.
Yes.
That's
You know
beautiful.
your scents. Thank you.
I mean, you can kind of just like, that's just what I experience. I could be wrong. I don't know what the notes
No,
are yet.
they are.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
This actually reminds me like it could be a sister to the first one.
Yes, but the first one's more dark. It's more heavy. It's more like nighttime, and I think the first one's a lot more complicated in like a way where you have to be a certain kind of person to wear that one. Like you have to like a heavier,
You think so?
I think so.
I don't think it's that I don't think it's that polar.
You don't think so?
Mm.
Wow.
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
I feel like it's quite friendly. It's quite inviting. Yeah, I
Okay.
do.
All
Okay, let me
right.
smell this one.
Okay, so this one is called Silent Storm.
Silent Storm.
Yeah, so this one is more of a gourmand.
I really like the bottle, by the way.
Thank you.
And gourmands are my favorites.
I can tell from
That's
your
Okay. I'm getting like, this is definitely like more me. They both are, because I feel like fruity florals are probably actually ambers are probably my second favorite. Gourmands are my number one.
They're your number one. Yeah, you smell
getting,
really good
like-
at gourmands.
I love.
Yeah.
I've always been that way.
Yeah.
Since like even high school, middle school. Is this like marshmallow?
No, it's not marshmallow.
It's
No,
definitely
that would be a
like
really nice
I'm getting
scent.
like the color white. Like it just smells very.
So it's definitely more of, it's still light, but it's more of a quieter like evening, maybe like a
vanilla.
vanilla, like a beach evening or even like a city lights evening. It's for someone who wants to smell like feminine, but not too youthful.
I see, like an elevated gourmand. Because
an
gourmands can be
elevated.
very juvenile to some people, not to me. I love gourmands, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so this is a little more sophisticated, like a
Yeah,
sophisticated
it is.
sweet.
I get vanilla. I definitely think there's marshmallow.
Yeah,
I get marshmallow
really.
or something like
I
marshmallow.
love marshmallow.
Me too. I'm obsessed with marshmallow. That's one of my favorite notes. This smells really good. This is definitely more me.
Okay.
They both are, but this one even more so. And I actually like the fact that it's not so heavy. Like I would wear this during the day.
It's definitely,
I think it's a daytime.
it could be, yeah. It could be like a work fragrance.
Mhm.
It's definitely very light.
It's very yummy.
It's very yummy.
Very yummy. Very edible.
There's a lot in there. There's
Wow,
so many
beautiful.
layers. Thank you. I'm happy that you
But
love
definitely.
You like Silent
Both of
Storm.
them, but definitely this one. Yeah. With God, you'll be fine forever. Amen. Some of y'all need more Jesus. Okay? Some of y'all need more Jesus.
I have 10 questions that I'm going to shoot at you.
Okay.
And I'm saying shoot because they're going to be rapid fire.
Yes,
So you're
this is
gonna-
my favorite. I love these.
Answer them as quickly as you can. The
Okay.
first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Favorite hero? I don't know. Taking too long.
Oh my God. Okay. Wonder Woman.
Wonder
No,
Woman?
Catwoman. Catwoman. Sorry.
Okay.
Catwoman. She black. Shout out to Halle Berry.
It can be.
No, Halle Berry. Catwoman.
Okay. It didn't have to be a superhero. It could have just been a hero.
Oh,
Like a regular
said
person.
superhero.
Did I?
girl. Yeah.
Okay,
You did
sorry
say
about that.
superhero. My
Okay.
favorite. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to play it back.
Okay.
I'm her superhero, so I'm gonna say Catwoman.
Okay, Catwoman's cute. Favorite vacation spot?
Definitely Greece.
How long does it take for you to get ready in the morning?
Okay. Ooh.
Don't lie.
Minimum an hour and a half.
Okay.
Minimum.
Maximum?
Easily I can do 3 hours. If I'm like,
what are you doing for 3 hours?
If I really, the difference between a 1 hour beat and a 3 hour beat is the detail.
Okay.
So like if I really, really want to be like perfect, glam, laying on the layers, everything long wearing, perfection, sculpt, chiseled, 3 hours, and respect the time because I will use every minute of it. And then also that's hair too. So hair and makeup, that's
a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I can give it that.
And that includes the shower, technically.
Body scrubs, oils, lotions, candles.
Exactly.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, what is my now favorite movie? It used to always be The Notebook, but I don't know what it is now.
It was a Notebook?
No, it's my favorite movie.
I can't imagine that being your favorite movie.
What? I love that movie. If you're a bird, I'm a bird. I love that movie. I'm obsessed. But I need like a current.
That's my favorite movie too.
What's my new favorite movie? Damn, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I know, but I have like it's been dethroned. I need a new favorite movie.
Okay.
That's like old school. Like,
I know. Still my favorite movie though.
I'm gonna come back to that one.
Okay.
If I think about it.
Favorite forever mood candle.
Okay. Right now?
Right now.
I'm gonna say Thottum. I'm gonna say Thottum.
Okay. What does it smell like?
Ooh, it's just like buttery creamy. It's like the perfect fall candle. So yummy frosting. Like, oof, it's good. It's like rich.
So good.
Yeah, very buttery, like a gourmand lover's dream. So good. So good.
Right.
Very cozy as well.
Cozy sweater weather. Okay. Pet peeves.
People who stare, it's so freaking rude. Like, please don't stare at me. Like, especially, so my thing with like staring is like, if they stare, like I usually smile to like make the situation less awkward.
Right.
And if you don't smile back, it's really like,
that's actually,
you're weird. Yeah. Like you're weird. Cause sometimes I feel like people don't realize they're staring.
Yes.
But if I smile to make it less weird and you're still staring, okay, that's enough. I might have to give you a stank face. Literally, because it's hard for me to not. I'm gonna give you a stank face because I can't even help it at that point. I'm like,
what are you doing? Yeah. What are you looking at?
Teeth or something? Like, hello. Yeah, staring.
Favorite way to spend a Saturday?
Cleaning.
Really?
Yeah, I like to clean.
You do like to clean.
I like to organize my stuff.
Your stuff is so like quaint and clean, and
I love it. I'm a tidy girl. I love tidying things, putting things away.
Does it like help you like relax?
It's very relaxing for me. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely very therapeutic. I just like I like the process of taking care of things.
That's nice.
I really like to take care of stuff. So if something looks, let me just buff that a little bit. I like it.
I know. I see you doing that all the time. You're like, my hands need a little lotion.
Yeah, even my body.
I know.
I like taking care of things.
That's nice. That's good. What's something that no one knows about you that they can know? Something interesting.
I don't know if I'm that interesting.
The
only thing that comes to mind is that I can raise both eyebrows.
Oh, that's interesting. Right. Oh, when did you start doing that?
I've always been able to do that.
That is hilarious.
No one cares. That's just the one thing Did y'all know that?
I mean,
sorry. I'm so sorry. That was so anticlimactic. That's the one thing I can think of right now.
Okay, that's cute. That's cute, girl. If you were giving $1 million right now and you had to spend it immediately, what would you spend it on? What would you do with it?
Don't know if I would. I don't know.
You have to spend it.
I have to spend it?
You have to spend it in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you can give it to me.
You want it? You know what? I probably feel like I'd find a way. I'd probably take like half of it and like invest it in something. Okay. The other half, I'd probably maybe buy my mom a new house. I buy my mom a new house.
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
I would. Either buy my mom a new house or flip the one that she has.
Okay.
Because she is obsessed with her house, but she likes doing things herself. And I'm like, people, you can like pay people to do your floors. Like you don't have to do this yourself, mom. Yeah, I buy my mom a house.
Oh, that's sweet. That's lovely. Mm-hmm. Okay. This one you can answer. You can take your time to answer. What does happiness look like to Jackie Aina?
Ooh, I think peace of mind. Going back to that, definitely peace of mind.
Peace of mind. That's what makes you happy.
That's like pure happiness, in my opinion. Just like not having to worry about things, not having anxieties, Definitely. And happiness is being in love, I think. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be.
It is.
But that's for the most part. Like if you're not in a estranged or weird situationship. But yeah,
Right.
happiness is for me being in love.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, you seem happy. You seem so happy. And you look happy. It's
Thank
written all
you.
over you, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Jackie, for being
you.
here. Thank you for
having me.
having our first guest in the Dr. Daff show. Thank you for all of your wisdom that you shared and just allowing us to step into your life a little bit and just know a little bit more about you. I think you are so inspirational and so beautiful and such a wonderful, warm person. Whenever anyone has ever met you, they always tell Michelle, she is so sweet. She's nothing like I thought she was. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. That you are just such a beautiful person. And I'm
Thank
just
you.
so happy that you're in my life. I love you so much.
So
You're
proud of you and
welcome.
congratulations.
Thank you, girly.